Welcome to Andy's Garage. I'm Andy Phillips. Today I want to talk a little bit about the airbag light when it comes on your dash. We're going to talk about what causes that and how you can fix that. Pretty simple. So let's go ahead and get started. That light right there is what we're talking about, the airbag symbol. A lot of times people see that come on, they think it's, all kind of issues with the car. I know someone who actually got rid of a car when that came on because they thought it was a bigger issue. But even though that is an important issue and it needs to be addressed, you can easily do it yourself. And a lot of times when that symbol comes on, you'll also notice that your horn doesn't work. Sometimes some of these buttons around here, you can see as I toggle through them, look there at that screen, nothing's happening with the tripometer. Those will start to fail. The horn will start to fail. That light will come on. It's because they're all connected to a component behind this airbag assembly. Now, the assembly that I'm talking about, it's this little piece here. It's known as the steering clock spring. And what that is, it mounts behind this airbag assembly and it rotates, right? So as you turn the wheel, that rotates, but it connects the harness to all these components. In time, those connections start to break, and that's where you start to have these buttons failing, the horn failing, the airbag light comes on, and this is what needs to be replaced. You can pick these up very inexpensive. They range anywhere from 15 to 25 bucks, depending on your vehicle. But to do it, what you need to do is you need to remove this airbag assembly, take the steering wheel off so you can access it and replace it. So let's go ahead. The particular vehicle I'm working on here is a Kia Rio. So if that's the vehicle that you have, I'll have a link across the top, also down in the description where I did it on this vehicle. But let's go ahead. We're going to swap it out and then I'll show you how it'll solve those problems. Very easy. We're going to disconnect the battery cable on the ground, the negative. Next, you're going to start by disconnecting your airbag assembly here from the front of your steering wheel. So after you unscrew that, you can slide that off. And if we look here on the back, you'll have two connections right here. Sometimes you'll have one. This particular one, we have two. So you're going to disconnect those. Now keep in mind, we've already disconnected the battery because you want to make sure that's disconnected and discharged before you do this. So we'll take these off and then we can slide these off from this assembly right here. And let's see, once we get them out of here, now we can take this whole airbag assembly piece here. We'll set this off to the side so we can proceed with the rest of this. So I'll put this over here. And now coming back, you can see right here we have our shaft here in the middle. So we're going to remove now the retainer nut. So I'm going to take this off. We'll be right back to continue. So now that that's off, we'll take the nut off as well. And let's see, we'll disconnect here. Sometimes you have a connection coming in. So with that now all disconnected, we can slide this off of the shaft. So we'll grab the steering wheel here and just pull it till we get it off here. And it'll slide right off the shaft. And you want to make sure you be careful with the any connections that go to the airbag assembly so you don't get those caught. Set that off here. And then now we can take a look. Here's our steering clock spring. You can see it right there. So we just need to remove this housing that goes around the steering column. We'll get that off. So that way we can open this up here. We'll pop that open. Drop this bottom piece here. And we'll pull this down so we can slide this completely out of the way so we can get clear access to what we're going to be working on. So now with that off, this is our steering clock spring. You can see we have one connection here on the top. We'll unclip that. There we go. Then you have one here on the side. This particular one, we have 3 points. We have the top and then one on each side. Yours may be a little bit different, but basically you want to disconnect it. And then also you want to look here on the back. There's a couple harnesses that can also be connecting to it. So we're going to disconnect those as well. You may have only one harness, but depending on how many, you want to disconnect any harnesses. That way we can slide the old one off. And then here we are now bringing our new one in. This is what the new one looks like. We'll slide this over the shaft. And you want to make sure that you line it up properly so it clips in place. So we have our top connection where we disconnect the other one. And then we'll also make the connections on the two sides. Clip those in place. There we go. It's nice and sturdy. Then we're going to go ahead and reconnect the harnesses that we took off the back. This particular one, like we saw already, it had two. Those two go back on. Next thing, we're going to put the housing back over the steering column. Get all that in place. And for your particular vehicle, it may be different, but just go ahead and resecure all that. You're going to screw it on once you have it in place. Get all that screwed back in properly. Make sure it's secure. Make sure it's fitting nice and snug all around. Next, we're going to slide our steering wheel back on. And you'll notice I have a little black line that I put across the shaft and the steering wheel to make sure it's centered the way we took it off. Then we'll reattach everything. But if you want to see a video I did on how to make sure that you get it aligned back on, I'll have a link across the top, also down in the description, in case you wind up to a predicament with that. But next, we're going to put the retainer nut back on the washer. You want to make sure you torque it according to your vehicle specs. Once we have that on, we'll bring our airbag assembly back on, reattach, the one or two connections that you took off. Make sure they're nice and secure and locked in place. Click little locking tabs. Bring the other one, we'll lock that one on as well. Get everything secure. There we go, clip it back on. Then the next thing, we're going to get this in place the way we took it off. So you want to make sure that you center it properly, make sure it locks in, it's nice and snug. And then once we have that in place, we can secure everything back in and tighten everything back up. And then don't forget to reattach your battery, your negative battery, get that reinstalled and nice and secure now that everything is done and we're done fooling around with all the electronic components. Now that we've replaced the steering clock spring, let's start up the car and see if that light right there goes out. And there it is. The airbag light is out. And in addition, horn's working. Let's see here, these buttons here. All that is working as well. Okay, as we saw, that took care of our problem. This little thing right here, the steering clock spring, took care of that airbag light being on. You can get these things anywhere from 12, 15, 20 bucks. Very easy to put in, as we saw, and that solves your problem. So if you see your airbag light coming on, don't worry about it. Obviously, you do want to get it fixed, because when that light is on, you're having issues. You don't want to be getting into a car accident and the airbag's not working, things like that. And if it's affecting your horn as well, you obviously want your horn working. You don't want to be driving down the road and not having a working horn in case of an accident or avoiding an accident. So if you do see that, chances are it's your steering clock spring. You can pick this up very easy. You just need to remove your steering wheel, get behind there, swap it out. The light goes out, everything is working good again, and we're ready to roll. As mentioned before, I know people that have actually sold vehicles when they saw that light on because they weren't sure what it was. Simple fix. So I hope that this video was informative for you, explaining what that light is and what causes it and how to easily fix it. Please send me any questions and comments. I would love to hear from you. And as always, I appreciate all the support. So please like the video, subscribe to my channel, as I'm constantly posting videos on how to fix vehicles and other DIY videos of mine. I'll see you next time.